Ambassador Lee Hyun walked into the biggest room he had ever seen. The ceiling went up so high that clouds could form in there. The walls were made of some kind of metal that changed colors like oil on water. 47 different types of alien beings sat in circles around a giant table in the middle. Hyun felt very small as he walked to his seat. His black suit looked plain next to all the colorful aliens around him. Some aliens had bright blue skin that sparkled. Some looked like giant bugs with wings that buzzed loudly. Others were made of what looked like living crystal that made beautiful sounds when they moved. The Valdari were the most impressive ones. They stood 9 feet tall with blue skin that seemed to glow. Their leader, Consul Thex, had golden marks on his forehead that showed he was very important. His voice was so deep it made the floor shake when he talked. All the other aliens seemed to respect him, or at least fear him. Next to the Valdari sat the Hive Queens. They looked like giant ants, but with 6 arms instead of 4. Their eyes were black and reflected light like mirrors. When they talked, they made clicking sounds that hurt Hyun's ears. The biggest queen had scars all over her shell, which meant she had fought many battles. The Nexari were the strangest ones. They were made entirely of living crystal that grew in different shapes. Some were tall and thin like trees. Others were short and round like boulders. When they got excited, their bodies changed from blue to red to yellow to colors that Hyun had no names for. They spoke by making music instead of words. In one corner floated the void speakers. They had no solid bodies at all, just clouds of gas that somehow could think and talk. Their voices sounded like wind blowing through caves. They scared most of the other aliens because no one knew what they really looked like under all that gas. The Forge Masters sat perfectly still like robots. Their bodies were made of metal and glass, with gears and wires showing through clear panels in their chests. Red lights blinked where their eyes should be. When they moved, it sounded like a factory machine starting up. Hyun took his seat between 2 empty chairs. His assistant, Park Mira, sat next to him. She was nervous and kept checking her tablet every few seconds. She had studied all these alien species for years, but seeing them in person was different than reading about them in books. The meeting started when Consul Thex stood up. His shadow fell across half the room, making everyone pay attention. His golden forehead marks glowed brighter when he was about to say something important. Today we discuss the mining rights to the Kepler system. He said, his voice boomed like thunder. The Kepler system has 17 planets with rare metals that everyone wants, but not everyone can have them. The Hive Queen started clicking loudly. The biggest queen stood up on her 6 legs and pointed 2 of her arms at Consul Thex. The Hive has claimed those worlds for 3 cycles. She clicked. We were there first. We built the survey stations, we mapped the asteroid fields. A Nexari shaped like a tall blue tree chimed in with musical notes that somehow formed words. The crystals were there. Before any of you. The song metals in those asteroids sing to us they belong with their crystal family. The void. Speakers made us sound like wind in a storm. The gas speaks truth, said their whispery voice. All matter returns to the void in time. These metals will join the great emptiness whether you take them or not. A Forge Master stood up with mechanical sounds. Its red eye lights focused on each speaker in turn. Efficiency requires logical distribution. It said in a voice like a computer talking. Mining rights should go to those with best extraction capabilities. Around the room, other aliens started talking too. The snake-like coil dancers hissed about their ancient claims. The plant-based grove tenders rustled their leaves angrily. The rock, eating stone munchers complained that everyone ignored their simple needs. Through all this noise, Hyun sat quietly. He took notes on his tablet about who said what, and who seemed angry at who. Park Mira whispered in his ear about Earth's position on each topic, but Hyun already knew everything she was telling him. What surprised him was how the aliens acted toward humans. Most of them barely looked at him. When they did look, it was the way adults look at children who are trying to join a grown-up conversation. They were polite but not really interested in what Earth might want. Consul Thex raised one blue hand, and the room went quiet. He looked directly at Hyun with yellow eyes that seemed to glow. Ambassador Lee, what does Earth want from the Kepler system? Hyun stood up slowly. He was much shorter than most of the aliens in the room, but he spoke clearly. Earth believes the Kepler system should be shared fairly among all species that can use it responsibly. Some aliens made sounds that might have been laughter. The hive queens clicked in a pattern that Mira had told him meant amusement. A few Nexari chimed notes that sounded like giggles. Consul Thex smiled, showing teeth that were too sharp. Earth has been part of our galactic family. For only 50 years, he said young species often have idealistic ideas about fairness. But the galaxy runs on strength and experience, not on hopes and dreams. The Valdari leader walked closer to Hyun's chair. Each step he took made the floor vibrate. Earth has 3 small colonies and a few dozen ships. The Valdari Empire has controlled 200 worlds for over 2,000 years. Which of us do you think understands galactic politics better? Other aliens nodded and made agreeing sounds. The hive queens clicked approvingly. The Forge Masters blinked their red lights, and what Hyun had learned meant they agreed. The Stone Munchers made rumbling sounds deep in their throats. Your species is very new to space travel. Consul Thex continued. Perhaps Earth should focus on learning from older civilizations instead of trying to compete with them. The Kepler system needs experienced hands to manage it properly. Hyun felt heat rise in his face, but he kept his expression calm. He had expected this kind of treatment. Earth was always the youngest in every room, the newest member of every group, but that did not mean Earth was unprepared. Thank you for your wisdom. Consul Thex, he said, I will make sure to tell my government exactly what you have said. The big alien seemed pleased with himself. He returned to his seat looking satisfied. Several other aliens came up to Hyun afterward to give him similar advice about knowing his place and learning from his betters. As the meeting ended with no decisions made, Park Mira gathered her notes. She looked frustrated, all that talk and nothing got decided. She whispered to Hyun, watch the aliens file out of the great chamber. They moved in groups, talking quietly among themselves, making plans and deals that Earth was not invited to join. Nothing got decided today, he agreed. But I learned a lot about how they think. What do you mean? Mira asked. Hyun smiled as he watched Consul Thex leave, surrounded by other Valdari officials. They all think Earth is too young and weak to matter. They think we will just give up and go home when things get difficult. And will we? Mira asked. Hyun picked up his tablet and started walking toward the exit. Not today, he said, but they are going to be very surprised tomorrow as they left the great chamber. Hyun was already planning his next move. The aliens had shown him exactly what they thought of Earth and humanity. Now it was time to show them what Earth really thought of them. The game was just beginning, and Earth had been preparing for this moment much longer than anyone suspected. Hyun walked back to his quarters, feeling the weight of 47 alien species looking down on him. The corridor was long and empty, with walls that showed pictures of space. His footsteps echoed in the silence. Park Mira walked beside him, checking her tablet again and shaking her head. They treated us like children, she said. Her voice was angry. That Consul Thex acted like we should be grateful, just to be in the same room. Hyun nodded, but did not seem upset. He had expected this kind of treatment from the beginning. The door to his quarters opened with a soft hiss, and they walked inside. The room was simple, with basic furniture and a large window showing the stars outside. Sit down, Mira Hyun said, as he moved to his desk. I need to make a call. To Earth, Mira sat in the chair by the window, still looking frustrated. Who are you calling? Director Kim Soo? Hyun replied as he turned on his communication device. The screen lit up with Earth in the background, blue and white and beautiful. After a few seconds, a woman appeared on the screen. Director. Kim looked tired but alert. Behind her, Hyun could see the walls of a busy control room. People moved back and forth, carrying tablets and talking quietly to each other. Dozens of screens showed information from all over the galaxy. How did the meeting go? Kim asked. Her voice was serious, but Hyun could hear hope in it too. Exactly as we predicted. Hyun said. The Valdari think they run everything. The Hive Queens believe they deserve the best planets. The Nexari want to claim anything that makes music. They all see Earth as too young and weak to matter. Kim nodded slowly, and Consul Thex. He told me that Earth should learn our place and stop trying to compete with older civilizations. Hyun smiled as he said this. He was not upset by the insult. Good. Kim said that means they are not watching us carefully. If they think we are harmless, they will not pay attention to what we are really doing. Mira looked confused. What are you two talking about? What is Earth really doing? Kim looked at Hyun, who nodded. It is time to show her, Kim said. Mira, you have been working as Hyun's assistant for 6 months. What do you think Earth has been doing all this time? Learning about galactic politics, Mira said slowly. Studying trade agreements. Making friends with other species. Kim laughed, but not in a mean way. That is what we wanted everyone to think. Mira, but Earth has been much busier than that. The screen changed to show a massive computer system with thousands of screens and cables. The room was huge, filled with people working at different stations. Some were typing fast on keyboards, others were watching screens full of numbers and charts. Still others were talking into headsets in languages Mira did not recognize. This is the real Earth Diplomatic Center, Kim said. We have been building this for 30 years, ever since we first learned about the galactic community. What does it do? Mira asked. It learns, Kim replied. We study every species we meet, every planet they control, every ship in their fleets, every trade agreement they sign, every secret they think they are hiding. Hyun watched Mira's face as she realized what Kim was saying. Earth has not been trying to build the biggest army or control the most planets, he explained. We have been trying to understand everyone else better than they understand themselves. The screen changed again, showing a detailed map of Valdari space. But this was not a normal map. It showed every planet, every space station, every ship location. It even showed planets that were supposed to be secret, hidden bases that no one was supposed to know about. How did you get this information? Mira whispered. We have been very patient. Kim said. Humans are good at watching and listening. We sent traders to alien worlds and they brought back information. We made friends with alien workers and they told us stories. We studied every public document, every news report, every scientific paper. But that is just the beginning, Hyun added. The screen changed to show the Hive Queen territories. Again, the map showed everything, including secret hive worlds that were hidden from other species. Earth has the best computer systems in the galaxy. Kim continued. We can break into almost any alien network. We can read their private messages. We can access their government files. We can even watch their military planning sessions. Mira stared at the screen in shock. This is spying, yes. Kim said simply, and we are very good at it. Screen kept changing, showing the territories of every species they had met in the council chamber. The Nexari crystal worlds, including backup crystal storage sites that were supposed to be impossible to find. The void speaker dimensions, including emergency hiding places that existed in different parts of space. The Forge Master factory worlds, including secret weapons plants. Every species has backup plans, Kim explained. When things go wrong, they have places to run to hidden governments that can take over secret armies that can fight wars. Alternative planets where their people can survive. Hyun leaned forward in his chair. Every species except Earth. We do not have secret backup governments or hidden armies. Then what is our backup plan? Mira asked. Knowledge, Hyun replied. Our backup plan is to know everything about everyone else. We know their strengths and their weaknesses. We know their fears and their hopes. We know what they will do before they do it. The screen showed a list of files with names of every species in the galactic community. Each file was huge with thousands of pages of information. We know that the Valdari Empire is not as strong as it pretends to be. Kim said, they have internal fighting between different, noble families. They have rebellions on 12 planets that they are hiding from everyone. They have money problems because they spend too much on their military. The Hive Queens are not united, like they claim. Hyun added, there are actually 5 different Hive Queens, and 3 of them are planning to destroy the other 2. They have been secretly building armies to fight each other and the Nexari. Kim continued, the peaceful crystal beings who just want to make music. They have been stealing technology from other species for 200 years. They copy inventions and pretend they created them. Mira looked overwhelmed. How long have you been collecting this information? 30 years, Kim said. Ever since Earth first met alien life, we realized that everyone else had thousands of years of experience, but we had something they did not have. What Mira asked. Curiosity, Kim replied, and patience. Other species fight each other or try to show off their strength. Humans watch and learn and remember everything. The screen showed a massive database with millions of files. About every alien government, every military unit, every secret agreement, every hidden plan. Tomorrow you go back to that council meeting, Kim said, and you show them what Earth has really been. Show them what Mira asked, that their secrets are not secret anymore, Hyun replied. That we know about all their backup plans, all their hidden worlds, all their secret agreements. But why, Mira asked. Why reveal everything now? Because the Kepler system is just the beginning, Kim said. The Valdari and the other old species think they can push Earth around because we are young. They think we will give up and go away when they threaten us. Hyun stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. They have been playing games with each other for thousands of years, he said. Making secret deals, breaking promises, hiding their real intentions. Tomorrow, we change the rules of the game. Kim added, tomorrow we show them that Earth knows how to play. 2. The screen went dark and the room became quiet. Mira sat in her chair staring at nothing as she tried to understand what she had just learned. Are you ready for tomorrow? Hyun asked her. Mira looked up at him. I think so. But what happens after tomorrow? What happens when they know that we know everything? Hyun smiled as he looked out at the galaxy full of species who thought they were smarter than the young humans. Then we find out if truth is stronger than secrets. The next morning, Hyun walked into the council chamber carrying his tablet like it was the most important thing in the galaxy. Park Mira followed behind him, looking nervous but excited. She had barely slept, thinking about what was going to happen. Today, the great chamber looked the same as yesterday. The colorful aliens sat in their circles around the giant table, talking loudly about mining rights and trade agreements. The ceiling still seemed to touch the clouds and the walls still changed. Colors like oil on water. Consul Thex stood at his usual place, looking proud and confident. His golden forehead marks glowed brightly as he prepared to speak. The other Valdari nobles surrounded him, nodding at everything he said. The blue-skinned aliens clearly thought today would be another easy victory over the young humans. The hive queens clicked and buzzed in their corner. The biggest queen, with scars on her shell, pointed her 6 arms at different parts of a holographic map showing the Kepler system. Her black eyes reflected the light as she planned which planets the hive would claim. The Nexari chimed musical notes that sounded happy and confident. The tall crystal beings changed colors from blue to green to gold as they discussed their ancient claims to the singing metals in the asteroid fields. Around the room, the other species continued their usual arguments. The void speakers whispered about the emptiness of space. The forge masters calculated mining efficiency with their computer minds. The stone munchers complained that everyone always forgot about their simple needs. None of them paid much attention to the human sitting quietly in his chair. Hyun was just the young ambassador from the weak species that had only been in space for 50 years. What could Earth possibly do to change anything? The formal session began when Consul Thex raised his hand for silence. His deep voice filled the chamber like thunder rolling across the sky. Yesterday we discussed the Kepler system mining rights, he announced. Today we will make the final decisions. The Valdari Empire claims the 3 largest planets based on our superior technology and experience. The hive queens immediately started clicking in protest. The biggest queen stood up on her 6 legs and waved 4 of her arms at once. The hive was there first. She clicked loudly. We built survey stations, we mapped the asteroid fields. We have the strongest claim. A tall Nexari shaped like a blue tree chimed in with musical protests. The crystals sing to us. The metals want to join their crystal family. We understand their songs better than anyone. The argument grew louder as more species joined in. Everyone wanted the best planets and the richest asteroid fields. Everyone claimed they deserved the mining rights more than anyone else. Through all the noise, Hyun sat quietly watching and listening. Park Mira kept checking her tablet, waiting for the signal to begin. She could feel her heart beating fast as the moment approached. After 20 minutes of arguing, Consul Thex raised his hand again. The chamber slowly became quiet as the powerful Valdari leader prepared to speak. "It is clear that some species do not understand galactic law," he said, looking directly at Hyun. "The strongest and most experienced civilizations have the right to claim the best resources. Earth must accept this reality." Other aliens nodded and made agreeing sounds. The Hive Queens clicked approvingly. The Forge Masters blinked their red lights in agreement. Even some of the smaller species seemed to think the Valdari were right. Consul Thex walked closer to Hyun's chair. Each step made the floor shake slightly. His yellow eyes glowed as he looked down at the small human ambassador. "Lee, your species has been given a great honor by being allowed to participate in this council," he said. "But participation does not mean equality. Earth must learn to accept the decisions of older, wiser civilizations." The chamber was completely quiet. Now everyone watched to see how the human would respond. Most aliens expected Hyun to apologize and agree to whatever the Valdari wanted. Instead, Hyun stood up slowly and calmly. He was much shorter than Consul Thex, but something in his posture made Park Mira sit up straighter. The quiet confidence in his movement made a few aliens pay closer attention. "Thank you, Consul Thex," Hyun said in a clear voice. "I appreciate your advice about accepting reality." The Valdari leader smiled, showing his sharp teeth. He clearly thought he had won the argument. However, Hyun continued, "There seems to be a misunderstanding about what reality actually is." Consul Thex frowned. "What do you mean?" Hyun activated his tablet. The chamber's main display screen suddenly lit up with a detailed map of Valdari space. But this was not the public map that everyone knew. This map showed every planet, every space station, every hidden base, including the ones that were supposed to be secret. The chamber fell completely silent. 46 alien species stared at the screen in shock. "This is Valdus Prime," Hyun said, pointing to a planet that was not supposed to exist. "Your backup capital where you keep your emergency government. 12 million Valdari live there in bunkers, designed to survive galactic war console." Thex went pale. His golden forehead marks flickered like dying lights. "How do you know about that?" The display changed to show the inside of the secret planet. Detailed maps of the underground cities, the government, bunkers, the military command centers. Everything was there in perfect detail. Population 12 million, Hyun continued. Government officials, 2,000 military commanders, 500. Emergency food supplies for 10 years. Underground factories for weapon production. The Valdari leader stepped backward, his confidence completely gone. "That information is classified at the highest levels." Hyun looked around the chamber at all the shocked alien faces. The Hive Queens had stopped clicking, the Nexari had turned gray with fear. The Void Speakers had stopped making any sound at all. "Earth has been learning about reality for 30 years, he said. "We know about all the backup planets, all the secret governments, all the hidden fleets." The display changed again, showing Hive Queen territory. But again, this was not the public version. Everyone could see the secret hive worlds, the backup queens, the hidden armies that were supposed to be preparing for war. 3 backup Hive Queens, Hyun announced. Queen Vixara on the outer rim thinks she is the only backup. Queen Cathara in the asteroid belt also thinks she is the only backup. Queen Nothara, hiding in the gas giant moons, also thinks she is the only backup. The biggest Hive Queen started clicking, frantically in patterns that Park Mira recognized as extreme panic and fear. All 3 backup queens have been building armies to fight each other. Hyun continued. None of them know about the other 2. Each one plans to take over if something happens to you. The display kept changing, showing the Nexari crystal archives, the Void Speaker emergency dimensions, the Forge Master secret factory worlds. Every species saw their deepest secrets displayed for everyone to see. Around the chamber, aliens started, making sounds of fear and anger. Some stood up and pointed at the screen. Others tried to leave, but the doors had automatically locked when the presentation began. "How is this possible?" whispered a Nexari whose crystal body was flashing red and white. With terror, Hyun smiled as he looked around the room at 46 species who had just realized they had no secrets left. Earth spent 30 years learning everything about everyone, he said. While you were fighting each other and making threats, we were watching and listening and remembering. The display showed a final image, a massive database with millions of files containing information about every species, every government, every military unit, every secret agreement. We know about the Valdari.
Noble families fighting each other. We know about the Hive Queens planning civil war. We know about the Nexari stealing technology. We know about everyone's backup plans. Consul Thex found his voice again. This is espionage. This is illegal. Hyun looked
directly at him. Is it more illegal than your secret military alliance with the Nexari that violates 7 galactic treaties? The chamber erupted in chaos as species accused each other of the secrets that had just been revealed. The real question, Hyun said loudly enough to be heard over the noise, is what we do now that everyone knows the truth. The chamber had become a storm of angry voices and frightened sounds. Aliens who had been allies for centuries now stared at each other with suspicion and fear. The Valdari nobles argued among themselves about who had leaked their secrets. The Hive Queens clicked accusations at each other. The Nexari flashed angry red colors while their musical voices turned into harsh, discordant notes. Through all the chaos, Hyun stood calmly at his position. His tablet showed more secrets with each passing minute. Park. Mira watched in amazement as 46 different species realized their carefully hidden plans were now public knowledge. But this is just the beginning, Hyun said loud enough to cut through the noise. The chamber gradually became quieter as aliens realized the human was not finished speaking. The display changed to show the Void Speaker's secret dimension, where they kept backup copies of their gas cloud civilization, hidden in a fold of space that other species were not supposed to know existed. Your emergency retreat dimension. Hyun announced coordinates here. Population backup of 50 million consciousness, stored in crystallized gas form. Emergency protocol. Activated if your main population faces extinction. The Void Speakers made a sound like wind screaming through empty space. How could solid beings find our hidden dimension? The display changed again, showing the Forge Master's secret factory worlds. Planets covered entirely in machines that produced weapons and ships, in violation of galactic peace treaties. 17 hidden factory worlds, Hyun continued, each one capable of building a war fleet in 6 months. Total secret military production capacity enough to outfit armies for 12 different species. The red lights in the Forge Master eyes flickered frantically as their mechanical voices spoke in rapid bursts of computer language. We computed that information was secured behind quantum encryption barriers, one of them said in its robot voice. Earth broke your quantum encryption 3 years ago. Hyun replied, we have been reading your production reports and copying your weapon designs. Around the chamber, more species saw their deepest secrets revealed. The Grove Tenders had backup forests on hidden worlds where they grew warrior plant soldiers. The Stone Munchers had secret asteroid bases where they stored weapons made from compressed rock. The Coil Dancers had underground cities where they trained assassins. Each revelation brought new chaos, as species accused each other of violations and betrayals. Old alliances crumbled as hidden plans were exposed. Enemies discovered they had been working together without knowing it. Wait one moment, called out a representative from the Spiral Wing. Species. These are all secret military preparations. What about trade violations and economic crimes? The display immediately changed to show financial records and trade agreements. Secret deals between species that were supposed to be neutral economic. Warfare disguised as fair competition. Illegal resource extraction from protected worlds. The Valdari have been selling weapons to both sides of the Keth civil war, Hyun announced while claiming to support peace negotiations. Profit from weapon sales. 800 million galactic credits. The Nexari have been copying patented technology from 17 different species. Hyun continued, then selling the copies as original Nexari inventions. Total stolen intellectual property value over 2 billion. Credits: the Hive Queens have been secretly consuming uninhabited planets in protected space zones. Hyun added 12 worlds completely stripped of all organic matter in violation of conservation treaties. Each new revelation brought gasps and angry shouts from around the chamber. Species that had trusted each other for generations discovered betrayals. Species that had been enemies learned about secret cooperation between their leaders. Consul Thex tried to restore order by shouting over the chaos. "This is madness," he yelled. "You cannot simply reveal diplomatic secrets and expect." His voice was drowned out by the sound of the Grove Tender representative rustling her leaves angrily at the stone muncher who had apparently been selling her people's sacred seeds to off-world corporations. The spiral wings were shrieking at the coil dancers who had been secretly recording their private communications for 20 years. The Forge Masters were arguing with the Void Speakers about unauthorized technology sharing agreements. "Stop," Hyun said quietly, but somehow his voice carried clearly through all the noise. The chamber gradually became silent again. All eyes turned to the small human who had just destroyed 46 different species' ideas about galactic politics. "You are all angry about the wrong thing," he said. "The problem is not that Earth learned your secrets. The problem is that you all had secrets in the first place." A young Nexari shaped like a small blue flower chimed a question. "What do you mean, human?" "Every species in this room has backup plans for war, betrayal, and conquest," Hyun replied. "Every species except one." He gestured around the chamber at all the aliens who were still staring at him in shock. "Earth does not have secret fleets waiting to attack our neighbors. We do not have backup governments ready to take over. We do not have hidden colonies preparing for war. Do you know what Earth's backup plan is?" The chamber was completely silent now. Every alien was listening carefully. "Our backup plan is to know everything about everyone else's backup plans," Hyun said. "But why?" asked the Grove Tender representative in her rustling voice. "Why not build armies like everyone else?" "Because armies can be defeated," Hyun replied. "Information cannot be destroyed. Once we know something, we can share it with everyone else. And it is very hard to start a war when all your plans are public knowledge." The display changed one final time, showing a simple message in the languages of all 47 species: complete transparency. All military assets declared, all colonies registered, all agreements made public. "This is Earth's proposal for the new galactic order," Hyun announced. "No more secret fleets, no more hidden planets, no more backup governments that ordinary citizens do not know about." "Impossible," shouted a Forge Master. "Our security depends on—" "Your security was an illusion," Hyun interrupted. "Earth just proved that today. Real security comes from everyone knowing that everyone else knows everything." Director Kim Soo's voice spoke quietly in his earpiece. "All human colonies are ready. All information is prepared for release." Park Mira looked at Hyun with wide eyes as she realized what was about to happen. "Actually," Hyun continued, "we have already begun implementing this new system." The chamber erupted in new chaos as aliens demanded to know what he meant. "Earth has uploaded all of this information to the public galactic networks," Hyun announced. "Every citizen of every species can now access complete information about their government's activities." The sound that came from 46 different species was like nothing Park Mira had ever heard before. It was fear, anger, panic, and disbelief, all mixed together. "Your people are learning right now about your secret wars, your hidden colonies, your backup plans, your illegal activities," Hyun said. "Everything is public knowledge now." A Valdari noble ran to the chamber doors and tried to leave but found them still locked. "When will you release us?" he demanded. "When you agree to the new system," Hyun replied. "Complete transparency or complete exposure. The choice is yours." Around the chamber, aliens frantically tried to contact their home governments. Their private communication devices were not working. The only way to send messages was through the public galactic networks where everyone could read them. "You have forced us into a corner," hissed a coil dancer. "No," Hyun replied. "We have shown you that you were already in a corner. You just did not know it yet. The age of secrets is over," he announced. "Welcome to the age of truth." 3 hours had passed since Hyun revealed Earth's complete knowledge of galactic secrets. The Great Chamber had become a battlefield of accusations and desperate negotiations. Consul Thex sat slumped in his chair, his golden forehead marks dim and flickering. The proud Valdari leader looked like he had aged 50 years in a single afternoon. Around the room, other species were dealing with the collapse of their secret plans. The hive queens clicked quietly among themselves, trying to figure out how to handle 3 backup queens who now knew about each other. The Nexari had turned pale crystal colors as they realized their technology theft had been exposed to the entire galaxy park. Mira watched it all with amazement. She had spent months studying galactic politics, but nothing had prepared her for seeing 46 different civilizations lose their diplomatic masks at the same time. The chaos was interrupted when every communication device in the chamber started buzzing at once. Aliens scrambled to answer calls from their home governments. Emergency reports were flooding in from every corner of the galaxy. Sir, the biggest hive queen clicked frantically at her communicator. Our backup queens are mobilizing their armies. They think this is an attack. They are preparing for civil war. Valdari Noble looked up from his device with terror in his yellow eyes. The noble families are accusing each other of betrayal. Consul Thex, 3 of them have declared independence from the Empire. Similar reports came from every species. The Nexari crystal archives were being raided by angry citizens who wanted to know what else their government had been hiding. The Void Speaker's emergency dimension had been discovered by other Void Speakers who were demanding explanations. The Forge Masters were dealing with factory world rebellions as their workers learned about illegal weapon production. The Grove Tenders faced environmental protesters on 12 different planets. The Stone Munchers discovered that their simple mining operations were not as simple as their leaders claimed. Through all this chaos, Hyun stood quietly at his position, watching the results of 30 years of Earth intelligence work. Park Mira leaned close to whisper in his ear. "This is getting out of control," she said. "Whole governments are falling apart." Hyun nodded but did not look worried. "Change is always messy," he replied. "But it was going to happen eventually. Better now when we can guide it. Then later when it explodes without warning." Consul Thex finally stood up from his chair. The proud alien leader looked broken and defeated, but he still commanded attention when he spoke. "Ambassador Lee," he said in a voice much quieter than before, "what does Earth want from us?" Hyun looked around the chamber at 46 species who were all waiting for his answer. The age of secrets had ended, but what would replace it? "We want to prevent galactic war," he said simply. "Every species in this room has been preparing to fight every other species. Your backup plans were not just for defense, they were for conquest." Several aliens tried to protest, but Hyun continued. The Valdari backup government was designed to survive a war of galactic conquest. The Hive backup queens were each planning to expand into other species' territories. The Nexari crystal archives included invasion plans for 12 different worlds. He gestured at the display screen, which showed military planning documents from multiple species. Sooner or later, someone would have started a war. All those secret armies and hidden fleets would have been used. Earth simply made sure that when the truth came out, we would be ready to deal with it. "But how do we rebuild trust?" asked a young Grove Tender whose leaves were shaking with fear. "How do we work together when everyone knows about everyone else's plans to betray them?" "The answer is simple," Hyun replied. "You stop making plans to betray each other." The chamber fell silent, as aliens considered what that would actually mean. Complete transparency means no more secret military buildup, Hyun explained. No more hidden colonies that other species do not know about. No more backup governments that bypass normal diplomatic channels. A Forge Master blinked its red lights rapidly. "But what about legitimate security needs?" "Public security," Hyun replied. "Announce your military capabilities, register your colonies, share your defense plans. If your security depends on other people not knowing about it, then it is not really security." Around the chamber, aliens began to understand what Earth was proposing, a complete change in how galactic civilization worked. No more diplomatic games, no more secret alliances, no more hidden agendas. The Spiral Wing representative spoke up in her musical voice. But what if some species refuse to participate? What if they try to maintain secrets while everyone else becomes transparent? Then everyone will know who they are. Hyun replied, and everyone will know not to trust them. Park Mira watched as the idea began to take hold. The species who had been caught with secret military plans were already thinking about how to make those plans public. The species who had been betrayed were considering how transparency might prevent future betrayals. Director Kim Soo's voice spoke quietly in Hyun's earpiece. Reports are coming in from all over the galaxy. Public opinion is supporting transparency. Most citizens are angry about the secrets their governments kept. The first species to make a decision was surprisingly the Grove Tenders. The representative with shaking leaves stood up and spoke clearly. The Grove Tender Council agrees to complete transparency. We will publish all our colony locations, all our trade agreements, all our military capabilities within one galactic cycle. A murmur went through the chamber as other aliens realized someone had just committed to the new system. The Stone Munchers were next. Their rumbling voice filled the chamber. Stone Munchers keep no secrets anyway. We mine rocks, we eat rocks, we sell rocks. Nothing to hide. One by one, other species began to agree. The smaller civilizations were the first to commit, followed by some of the medium-sized ones. The logic was becoming clear. Trust would be rebuilt through transparency, not through more secrets. The Nexari were among the last to agree. Their tall crystal leader chimed reluctantly. We will return all stolen technology to its original creators. We will share our crystal knowledge freely. We will publish all our research. Finally, only the three largest species remained uncommitted. The Valdari, the Hive, Queens, and the Forge Masters, the powers that had dominated galactic politics for centuries. Consul Thex looked around, the chamber at species that had already committed to transparency. His empire was falling apart as noble families fought each other. His backup government was demanding explanations. He could not give. The Valdari Empire accepts the new system, he said quietly. We will disclose all military assets, register all colonies, and publish all agreements. The Hive Queens clicked among themselves for several minutes before the biggest queen spoke. The Hive agrees but demands assistance in managing our backup queen situation. The Forge Masters were the last to decide. Their mechanical voices spoke in rapid computer language before one of them addressed the chamber. Logic indicates transparency reduces conflict probability by 73%. We agree to full disclosure. The chamber erupted in surprise sounds as aliens realized they had just agreed to completely change galactic civilization. Over the next several hours, they worked out the details. Public databases would be maintained by Earth, since humans had proven they were good at collecting and organizing information. Regular transparency reports would be required from all species. Any species that tried to maintain secrets would be publicly identified. As the session finally ended, Park Mira looked exhausted but amazed. We actually did it, she whispered to Hyun. We changed everything. Hyun smiled as he watched aliens leaving the chamber in small groups talking quietly about how to implement transparency in their governments. Hard part is just beginning, he replied. Making it work will take years. But at least now everyone knows what everyone else is really thinking. Through the great window that showed the stars, Park Mira could see ships from dozens of different species, all of them heading home to civilizations that would never be the same. For the first time in galactic history, she realized there were no secrets left to keep, and maybe that was exactly what the galaxy needed.